Imagine a place where streets do not exist, where the silence of the night is broken only by the sound of oars. I am not talking about a vacation. I am talking about being born, living, and dying in Venice, 1600. Welcome to 17th century Venice, the richest city in Europe, a beacon of commerce and culture, but also a place of brutal contrasts, a city that stank in summer and shimmered in winter, that created dreams and claimed lives. Today, we go beyond the postcards into its true soul. To understand Venice, you must first understand what it was. Not an ordinary city, but a republic. The Serenissima, the most serene republic, governed not by a king, but by a council of merchants. A commercial oligarchy that lasted over 1,000 years. An anomaly in a Europe of kings and empires. Meet Marco, a young facchino, a dock worker, one of thousands of arms that moved the wealth of Venice. His life was one of sweat and toil, carrying silks from Damascus and spices from the east. But Marco dreamed of more. He dreamed of open sea, of the trade routes that brought opulence to his city. On a sweltering summer night, the smell of salt and brine dominated the stench of the canals. Marco watched the galleons being ready to depart. In that moment, he knew. His life among the narrow streets and bustling docks was not his final destination. But what was it really like to live here? A symphony of smells, spices, fresh fish, sewage. A chorus of tongues, Arabic, Greek, German, Venetian. Merchants from across the world converged here. Life was a tight dance between the grandeur of palaces and the rawness of alleyways. The constant threat of disease and the promise of fortune. This was the rhythm of Venice. Venetian homes were boxes of wood stacked on stone, separated by canals that smelled of rot. In summer, the city became a furnace. In winter, a jewel of crystal and fog. At the pulsing heart of Venice was the Rialto. Not just a market, it was the Wall Street of Europe. Here, coins from every corner of the world changed hands. Contracts were sealed and fortunes made in seconds. It was the nerve center of a commercial empire stretching across the Mediterranean and beyond. The Venetians controlled the spice trade, pepper, cinnamon, clove, worth more than gold. The silk of Damascus, the glass of Murano, the marble of Dalmatia, everything passed through Venice. The wealth was immense, but so was the misery. The fortune of the Serenissima was built on a crushing system, where a few lived in absolute luxury. Many toiled in conditions bordering on slavery. This was the naked truth behind the brilliance of Venice, two cities in one. Venetian nobles lived in the grand palazzi lining the Grand Canal. Every stone spoke of centuries of power. The arsenal of Venice was the secret of its power, the largest factory in the medieval world. Within its walls, a warship could be built, armed, and launched in a single day. 16,000 workers, the largest concentration of labor in Europe, an unmatched war machine. Marco secured his place, not as an arsenal worker, as a sailor aboard a merchant galleon. His destination, Alexandria, one of the most vital ports in Venetian trade with the East. His hope to make his fortune and return home as a free man, no longer a simple dock worker. Venetian trade routes were the veins of the world, from the Mediterranean to the Black Sea, the Adriatic to the Levant. On board, Marco discovered a new world, sailors from 12 different nations, languages he had never heard. The Mediterranean was the source of all Venetian wealth, but it was also a merciless battlefield. Not only against the natural elements, there was a far more calculated and ruthless enemy on those seas. The Mediterranean hid storms that could swallow a galleon in minutes. The storm struck without warning. The sky turned black within minutes. The wind howled through the sails. The ship groaned and creaked like a wounded animal. Men prayed, others wept. Marco clung to the mast. After the storm's silence, and a damaged ship adrift, vulnerable, the worst was still to come. The Barbary pirates. These corsairs from North Africa were the terror of the Mediterranean seas. They hunted rich ships, and more profitably, souls for the slave markets of North Africa. The attack was swift, brutal, without mercy. Marco's galleon had no chance. In less than an hour, everything had changed. The ship was theirs, the cargo was theirs, and so were the men. Marco was captured. Instead of a quick death, he faced something far worse, the terrible ransom system. The ransom system was cold business. Families, guilds, or even the church paid to free captives. A merciless practice deeply rooted in Mediterranean commerce. Both sides profited. It is estimated that over 1 million Europeans were captured and enslaved by Barbary corsairs. 3 years, 3 years of forced labor under a merciless sun, chained far from his Venice. Hope faded each week. Resilience was tested to the limit, but the memory of Venice never left him. While Marco languished in captivity, Venice continued its eternal dance of wealth and intrigue. The Venetian Carnival was its greatest invention. For weeks, the city became something beyond itself. Behind the mask, a noble and a dock worker were equals. For those weeks, hierarchy disappeared. But beneath the masks, Venice kept its secrets. The Republic was watched by invisible eyes. The Council of Ten, the shadow government, no secret in Venice was safe from their spies. The Bocche di Leone, the lion's mouths, were stone boxes where any citizen could anonymously denounce another. Betrayal was punished swiftly and silently. The Bridge of Sighs earned its name for a reason. For some, this was the city of farewells, a place remembered forever, framed by morning light and the quiet. But Venice was not only shadow and power. It was also the city that nurtured art like no other. Titian, Tintoretto, Vivaldi. The Republic supported art and music with unparalleled generosity. The churches of Venice were living museums. Every wall told the story of a people who believed themselves eternal. Finally, after years of darkness, the light came. The ransom was paid. Marco was free. Freedom had a price that went far beyond gold. 3 years had changed everything Marco was. The journey home would be as important as the departure, an inner voyage as much as an outer one. And then, on the horizon, it appeared, that unmistakable silhouette, the one that had lived in his dreams for 3. Venice still standing, still brilliant, still itself, as if time had never touched it. The return was bittersweet. Venice seemed the same, but Marco was not. Its streets had taken on new meaning. It was the city where he was born, where he suffered, and where now he would be reborn with new eyes. With his experience and his new perspective, Marco built a new life, a life of gratitude and purpose. Venice in the 17th century was a city of dreams and nightmares, of gold and sewage, of art and behind every postcard, every tale of glory, there is a real story, dirty, brilliant, and unforgettable. The city on the water, the greatest of them all, still captivating us with its complex and eternal legacy.